You are Locked On Cougs, your daily podcast on the Houston Cougars, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
To the second segment here. I think this win is more meaningful for Houston, and I think that is largely predicated on they need some proof of concept.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that. Like, what do you guys need this win for?
Well, and so I think Houston's deal is like, we haven't played Georgia Tech yet, right? We didn't have a Heisman Trophy winner a year ago with the current coaching staff. We were working towards bigger things. And so I feel like there's a proof of concept thing here with Houston where, like, yes, you beat Kansas State last year when you weren't supposed to. You beat Utah when you probably also weren't supposed to, but we found out later they weren't any good, right? You beat TCU when you probably, like, you won a couple of those games last year. But now you had the big transfer portal class. You bring in, you mentioned Conner Weigman comes in, 5-star kid out of high school, is getting to come back home and play for the University of Houston after a couple of years in Aggie land. You're hoping the new coordinators, it all kind of starts to gel after a couple of, for lack of a better phrase, preseason feeling games, right? I think Houston's looking at this as a chance to show that that's not just a defense that only let up one touchdown through 2 football games because it was SFA and Rice, right? That's a defense that's for real. A quarterback that is putting things together, and the bomb in the early fourth quarter to Stephon Boogie Johnson on the sideline was not just a one-off. It was a sign of things to come, right? I think that's the deal here. I weirdly think that means the game matters more to Houston. It's also a home game and all that jazz. Kevin, tell me, like, what does this game mean to Colorado? They're in just a very different place to me.
Yeah, I think Colorado's always in a weird place. I've never seen a program that's always such. I don't know if there's a better phrase for this, but like do or die, if you will, where it's like everything's the end of the world or everything's like the best thing ever, right? Like it's like people were talking like Big 12 title run after beating Delaware with Ryan Staub. It's like, now here we go. Now we're ready for the playoff. It's like, okay, it was Delaware. Delaware's a good team, but you almost gave up 400 yards of offense, right? So you have to pump the brakes a little bit there. But I think the one thing that Colorado has that no other team has is like this constant just like cloud of people ready to jump on them. And I'm not saying that Houston doesn't have this. Like Houston fans are obviously very passionate. They're your everydayers. Our everydayers over at Locked On, we love them. But Locked On buffs and Colorado in general have like these everydayers of hate where it's just like they look for Colorado to fail. And it's like as soon as Colorado got good last year, like no one was really talking about them. Like the media was, but like the fans, it was like they backed off. And then they lose to Kansas and it's like, oh, Colorado, here we are. Like when Colorado went 4-8 in year one, it was super loud. And the Oregon video went ultra viral, as it should have. It was embarrassing. But I think Colorado just has like this natural state of like, if we don't win this, like the world's going to turn on us for 5 days. And I don't know if they're ready for that right now. I think Colorado's in a fragile spot. So a win, I think it sort of shows like Deion Sanders' proof of concept, like you said earlier for you guys. I think it shows he has proof of concept again, right? Because I feel like there's not a coach in college football that really has to prove himself as much as Deion Sanders does. And like you could disagree with that, but I'd love to hear your thoughts.
No, I'm interested because I think part of, and full disclosure, Houston had gripes with Colorado. They took a running back and Alton McCaskill, took defensive lineman Chidozie Nwankwo. Like they took guys.
Loved him. Alton McCaskill didn't do much for us.
I've heard. But I feel like there's been this like, people from the outside don't like them. I almost feel like some of the Coach Prime stuff's worn off. It's been a couple years. Yeah. The shine or whatever, he's gotten his dings, his lumps. He's taken those. He also is a sympathetic figure. You mentioned the cancer diagnosis that we found out about much after the fact. His son no longer plays for him. The character that is Travis Hunter is no longer there. Like some of those things aren't quite the same. Right. And so I almost wondered if the haterade around it kind of all faded away, and if that maybe shifted the goalpost here a little bit too. I mean, I certainly feel like I hear about it less, but like I said, they've also just not been in the limelight as much.
Yeah, the goalpost I feel like has moved every year, right? Like the first year was like and I think this is more of a systemic issue more than anything the first year, but it was like, can a coach from the HBCU FCS level win games, right? Can a quarterback who's only played at the FCS level win games, right? So that was the first year. And I know people want to bash on them. They went 4-8. The year before they went 1-11. And for those of you in Cougar land who don't know me, my first job out of college, I was a Pac-12 production assistant. And so let's just say Colorado was on the Pac-12 networks a lot, which is not a good thing. So like that means you were bad, and that means no TV network wanted to pick you up, right? So year 2, it was like, can he actually build off of that? And they did. But now the goalpost is, can he win without Shedeur and Travis, right? Because they did so much. And so I think there's a constant moving of the goalpost. I do agree with you in the sense that there's less haterade because how do I want to phrase this? Like, I personally I like Shedeur's game. I liked that he had confidence. I liked that for the big figure that he was, I felt like he was pretty down to earth at times for most of his career. But people love to hate him. Like, that was like college football's favorite pastime last year, was hating on Shedeur Sanders. And you don't have that anymore. I almost want to say this Colorado team's likable. Like, how could you not like a third string quarterback who like wasn't supposed to play? And like, you have all these guys who it's just like, they're trying to prove themselves. Right. And I think the goalpost has moved, but like, I understand from your perspective and like Houston's perspective of not liking Colorado. And I also think this means something else for both teams is like, I feel like both teams are still trying to prove themselves in the Big 12. Would you agree with that? Like we don't, I don't think we don't belong, but it's like, we're still trying to like, even though Colorado was already in the Big 12, it's like, we're still trying to like show we belong here.
No, and that's a total difference, right? This is a football preview. We don't have to talk about basketball, but as far as Houston joining the Big 12 conference, thus far, it kind of feels like they joined as a basketball school that kind of also plays football, right? Like, you're trying to prove yourself. You got left out when the Southwest Conference fell apart 30 years ago. Year 1, Holgerson, not great. Fire him. Next guy's in. Fritz actually had the same record on the year, but won one more conference game. And you're hoping to build, right? You're hoping to build towards being a Big 12 team. And this is the first Big 12 game of the season. And so it's not just Houston's first group of 5 or Power 5 opponent, non-group of 6 or FCS opponent. It is also a conference game. They play Oregon State the week after, or the game after, actually. And so there's some interesting bits and pieces of that as well. Colorado is interesting in saying they belong to me because you mentioned, Deion coming from HBCUs and the staff being somewhat, his butt. I mean, Warren Sapp coached the defensive line, right? Like, those kinds of things. But in my head, I think of Colorado as being a Pac-12 school as a Big 12 before, right? They didn't win the Big 12 or Pac-12 a whole lot. They were in. And so I guess I want to talk in the third segment about like how this game is actually going to go, because it feels like there is significance to this besides just being a football game to both teams. I mean, obviously you want to go 12-0, so you want to win all the football games. So that may be enough on itself. But we're going to talk about those odds brought to you by FanDuel, because today's show is brought to you by FanDuel. The NFL season's here, college football is here, and FanDuel is making sure you're ready for kickoff with this can't-miss offer. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if your bet hits, you get $300 back in bonus bets. That's almost so big, I had to double take reading it. Futures, if you want to get on the action live, parlays, all of those things are at FanDuel. If you're ready to play, down the FanDuel app by visiting FanDuel.com to get started. It's FanDuel.com to place your first $5 bet. And once you win that money, if you're looking at how to take care of it, transition there to today's show is also brought to you by our buddies at Monarch Money, because most people can't name all their financial accounts or even what they're worth, whether it's 401ks, properties, investments, and you don't have the full picture. It all ends up leaving money on the table. That's why there's Monarch Money, the all-in-one personal finance tool that helps bring your entire financial life together in one clean, easy-to-use interface on your laptop or your phone. Monarch is built for people with busy lives. Again, I teach, I coach, I podcast. Borba's getting married. You got a lot going on there. It's an all-in-one personal finance tool that can bring all of your financial life. You got a lot of other part of your life to bring together for, but your financial life can all be together on the Monarch apps. Easy use interface is right there for you. Link all your accounts, everything. For instance, when I'm like, I got to find some more money for diapers. Oh, hey, Parker, stop eating out. I'm going to say, not going to give any, free pub, but stop eating takeout all the time. I can figure those kind of things very visibly out with all my accounts in one place on Monarch Money. So don't let financial opportunities slip through the cracks. Use code LOCKEDONCollege at monarchmoney.com in your browser for half off your first full year. It's 50% off your first year at monarchmoney.com with code LOCKEDONCollege.